autumn in Dampierre is like summer in Paris. It's pretty summery today, so we're gonna take the opportunity to have a tour of the exterior and all the little gardens and the project for the gardens, because most of them are not done really. Let's go. Here we are on the North Pavilion. You have the big terrace with the gate, and down on the right and on the left there is two spaces with nothing. Here we organize in this house, the Pavilion North, the little cottage house that you saw previously in the videos. And in front of it I wanted to do a little garden, a bit more like an abbey garden, something small, something close and cozy. And I wanted to take advantage of the topography of the land, as is a bit under the level. This is the level of the moat that is around. So here we have a garden that we spend a lot of time doing all the marking on the floor with the little rope, as you see, to see exactly where we're going to put the trees, where we're going to put the plants, the buxus and the taxus also, and how we're going to organize the space. So as you see here, you're going to see with the little map, it's going to be a garden closed with big taxus, 2.5 meters, surrounding all the square over there, and also closing the wall that you see over there, with a hole in between just to let a little passage for the 3 stairs that go straight, and you're going to have a perspective. In the middle of this garden I have a little abreuvoir à oiseaux, which is a marble bassin, a marble cup, tall like this, that I put in the middle where the birds can come and drink a little bit of water. And in the middle is going to be 4 square surrounding the marble fountain. And in the 4 square is going to be, each square is going to be cut in half with a little alley to walk in. And in each little parterre is going to be hydrangea, the Annabelle one, that are like they look like a cloud, and it's really beautiful because we're going to make sure it doesn't grow too high, it stays pretty low, just a bit above the buxus around, and it's just making this cloud, white cloud of flowers, and it's going like a bit wavy like this, and it's really beautiful. And we didn't want to, I didn't want to really put so many colors. I think it's going to be green and white for this parterre, and I want it to be very simple, very authentic and cozy. And against the wall that we see here, we're going to put a lot of jasmine growing on the wall, and on the floor is going to be also a little buxus fence, and behind it, between the wall and the buxus, is going to be other flowers. I wanted maybe peonies, maybe other kind of hydrangeas, and we're going to mix it. Also for the parterre, we're going to mix the Annabelles, the hydrangea Annabelles, with other bulbs, because the hydrangeas are not flowering the whole time. And for instance, at the beginning of the spring, they are just green. There is not the flower yet. So I wanted maybe to put some big bulbs, tulips for instance, that can be very high, and we can just have like different type of flowers depending on the season. And I think this is very nice and interesting to actually play, to have like a different type of garden the same year without planting anything new. Let's go downstairs to see. Here is the stairs. And you can see that the perspective going straight to the moat over there, that is after the pavilion. And the perspective will going to be here a little gate, the second one exactly the same one, and a third one to go down on the gate, on the moat. And here, when you're not inside of the square with the plants and the flowers, the rest will be grass. So it's going to be everything grass, it's not going to be gravel. So we have a pretty important thing. The job of my builders for next week is actually to be sure, if you have the grass and you have the buxus, the grass is growing inside the buxus, and it's very complicated for the maintenance. So when you have grass and you have buxus, you need a little metal part. In French we call it volige. Is like acier, which is steel, and we buy 12 centimeters band of metal of 3 millimeters depth, and we put half of this on the soil with little sticks sometimes to be sure it stands. And there is 6 centimeters outside of the soil, and the grass is going to stop just there, and it's going to make a separation, a border that is very clear and much easier to clean and to maintain. So these little metal borders are going to be everywhere where you have grass. So it's going to be here on this thread here, following all the square. Is going to be here. Here is for the buxus, and here is for the taxus, the tall one. It's going to be all around. So this week is going to be about fixing that. And as soon as this is ready, I think by the end of October, beginning of November, is going to be time for plantation. So we'll receive the plants that are already adults, because taxus and buxus are used in the classic gardens for a simple reason, is because you don't need to cut them too often. So you can give them a nice shape, is dense, is nice, but you need to cut them like once a year. So the reason why we use them is because it doesn't grow fast. So I'm happy to use them because I don't want to cut them every 2 months, but in the same time, I want them adult already. I don't want to wait 20 years to actually enjoy this garden. So we need to buy buxus and taxus pretty high already. So the taxus is going to be 2 meters, and we expect them to go 2.20 meters to be perfect. And the buxus is going to be probably already like 40-50 centimeters, which is like the adult size we expect. But maybe the shape will take 1 year or 2 to be perfectly settled. But already we're going to have a nice idea of what the garden is going to look like in a couple of months already. So here, imagine the little buxus everywhere where you have the threads with the Annabelle's hydrangeas inside, arriving here to the little place with the abreuvoir, the fontaine, with the marble fontaine just put in the middle here. And you can just walk around, and you arrive here, you open the little gate. Here, actually, we just found listeria, but I wanted listeria with a trunk that is already really complicated and tortured, you know, like when there's like all this wood going up and down and turning. So we found like a couple of already old listeria with a trunk that is pretty interesting, that's going to go up here and go directly on the pergola that is installed over there. So here, a little gate, you open, and you arrive in another garden. And this little garden is going to be closed over there, not to have too much visibility. And it's going to be just grass, and it's going to be the entrance of the forest. So you're going to have a nice view here with a little bit of grass, with this beautiful tree, a little table over here, a little a fence over there, a hay, and there, just the beginning of the forest. And the beginning of the forest is we're gonna plant lierre, I think it's ivy in English, all over there, because I think in the forest usually when you have ivy on the floor is actually the best, because it keeps humidity, it keeps all the good nutrients in the soil, it helps the birds to for reproduction, it helps the insects also, is really good for the biodiversity. And in the middle of the ivy is very interesting to actually plant bulbs. And we want to have a forest that is a bit living. It's not just like a green forest. You need to maintain it, and depending on the season, I want some flowers to go out, and another season I want other flowers to go out. Actually, we're going to see after in the Parc Terrestre. Right now is just the best season, end of September, for the cyclamen de Naples. Naples cyclamen. I don't know if this is translation, but you're going to look online, I'm sure you're going to find it, that are growing naturally there, and you have just a carpet of little pink and soft pink, actually little flowers, and it's very beautiful. And actually we are always waiting for September, which is usually a bit depressing because you're back to school period, and you're just so happy to see these new flowers coming out, and it changes completely the landscape. And this is all the magic of gardens usually. And here is the entrance of the forest. So you were in all the formal park before, and now you enter the forest with this very beautiful path that just turns over there. So here I wanted to create something that was a bit more like a door. So with Taxus, we're going to organize like a little door. With taupière, which is the Taxus when you just cut it in a certain shape, you shape it into a door. I don't want like a top part, but I just want 2 columns, right and left. So I think we're going to put one here, column, with Taxus, going down a bit like this, with a certain shape, a bit like a door like that, with nothing here, and the wall was a bit longer, so I cut it a bit. I removed a couple of stones, and we're going to put the second pilaster here, going like that and going a bit on the wood like this. So you arrive and you really have like a formal entrance to the forest, and I find it kind of cute. It's a bit Disney World, but I find it super cute to arrive and have this official entrance of the forest. When the forest is healthy, you can see that you have a lot of ivy going around and little other plants, because ivy is very good, because ivy protects the place from the bad herbs, the bad grass to grow. So you see where you have ivy usually, there is nothing else that really grow except the bulbs. If you want some bulbs in there, you can plant bulbs and it's perfect, it goes through it. But as soon as the soil had been a bit upset by I don't know, like the gardener who came and cut the wood, etc., etc. So the soil is a bit upset, and so you have a lot of nettles growing. And even if it's good for the soup, you don't really love to have nettles because it's a bit hectic. It doesn't look really good. It's not nice to walk around, and it's really synonym of soil that have been upset. So the point will be to reinstall this really like ivy carpet everywhere, mixed with some bulbs. There is many. You can put narcissus, you can put tulips, you can put cyclamen. There is many type of flowers you can put everywhere. Also there is like ail des ours, which is a special plant you can actually do soup with, and gives little tiny white flowers and smell more or less like garlic, but it's pretty pleasant in a forest. And you see like here, like there's full of nettles, so I'm not going to walk over there. And it's super charming to have the opportunity at this season to walk through like the path of the wood. You really feel like you're in the nature, because you are, and but it's pretty wild. But even if it's wild, it needs some maintenance. Here you see it's been more than 20 years that no one took care of the woods. So you need to take care of a forest. You need to see here all the dead trees. You need some dead wood in a park, especially for the woodpeckers, the birds who need some dead woods. But of course, when it's like everywhere on the floor like this, it's not really healthy. You need some maintenance. So this winter is going to be, the point is to clean a little bit the forest and to cut the dead trees, not all of them, but part of them, and to make some wood actually for the fireplace later. We already cleaned the river. The river was a disaster. We didn't even know we had the river, because the river was full of dead trees coming up and down, and we didn't even see like 3 meters away. And last week I had 8 people cleaning the whole river. So they went there with little trucks, and they had to cut the wood and remove the big branches and the trunks that were in the river, and it was a lot of work. Of course, with all the machines to remove these big trees, because it was more than 20 years without a cleaning, the team damaged a little bit the floor and the soil and the balance of the soil. So it was ivy everywhere, and now it's a bit damaged. So I expect on the next month to have nettles growing. But I think we're gonna plant a couple of little ivy to balance that and to get back quicker to the good balance of the soil and the forest. All of this part of the landscape was completely hidden because it was wood everywhere, and I'm so happy to actually discover it with you now after they cleaned it completely. So this is a little bridge. that go over the river, and you go, and in the other side you just have the access with a very nice gate that needs to be restored. That's direct access to the church. There's a very, very nice church actually. Just here at the end of the park, and the border of the church is actually our park. So this is a little bridge that is going to be completely restored, maybe this winter, maybe the next one. And as you see, you have a nice view on the river. The river is now very low level, because we had to open the waterfall for restoration installation of the turbine. So the level is very low, but usually is a meter higher. But you can definitely see, you see the bridge over there, you see the river, and it's very charming. And over there we're going to restore the path to have, because I think when you have a park like this, you need to organize little walk, and each walk needs to have a purpose. You don't do like a circle for doing a circle. So you need to put, I don't know, something, a little belvedere over there, or something to see. You have a purpose to go over there, like a bench or a statue or something you need to see. So you do your little walk, and you have a surprise, and you have something to see. So I think over there we're gonna, of course, do the path to go to the church. Not because I like to go to the church, but just because it's nice to walk over there and access directly to the village. And also to do another path with a statue or something. I didn't really think about it. Maybe actually a little memorial for someone that got buried in the cemetery over there. I will tell you more about this story in another video.
To get this surface, or just so much time to wait. It's from the seats, but it's just to show that this is almost something you cannot buy.
And it gives light on the statue, and that's the way to light them. That was undercovered, so we cleaned them. See how tiny I am? You could almost build me a house in there.